Welcome back, everybody. This is Mog on Mog's Cast playing some more Kerbal Space Program. This time we're going to be launching up in our United Kerbal Industries file here. We're going to be launching up toward Moho. We've got Eve, we've got Gilly knocked out, and this is going to be the last step on our trek inward, closer to the sun of Kerbal. But we want to get this out of the way, and it's tough getting to Moho. It's incredibly tough. It's such a small planet that it takes a lot to slow down. And going that far to begin with, you need a lot of Delta V in your ship. In fact, you'll see what it's going to take to get there. It's pretty ridiculous, but for the time being, let's go ahead and launch up. And there we go, getting started. And as you can see, it's another non-manned mission. There's nobody down here. This is going to be another probe launch. I don't think I want to launch any Kerbals out toward Moho. It would definitely be too hot to sustain any sort of manned mission, I do believe, without some specially designed ship that sat in orbit to hold them. I don't think, realistically, with the technology available to us currently in the real world, that a manned mission to the surface of Moho would be something that could be done. Just for, you know, your little fact of the day, I'm sure most of you are probably aware, it's the Mercury equivalent in the KSP universe, is our Moho that we're hitting up. Pretty standard launch stage. It's our extra long stage, getting us a good amount of extra Delta V in our launch stage to keep a lot of fuel in our interplanetary. So we're getting up here. We're about 140, just a bit shy of 150 meters a second. We're about 5 kilometers up, and going to be watching our terminal velocity here, along with our current velocity. So currently we're creeping up on our terminal velocity. I'm gonna cut it back just a hair so it's not too close. We're above 200 now in our terminal velocity here, so we can go a bit faster. We'll probably slow that down so we don't overshoot it. And I think we're gonna run, well, we might not run our stage out before we start tilting, but it's gonna be close. In fact, I'm gonna start tilting right now, just a hair. And stabilizing, gonna kick off our second drop tanks, throttle up the full way, and tilt on down to that 50-degree marker. And there we are. So we're well on our way into the upper atmosphere, and going to be getting into a stable orbit here relatively soon. And there we go, starting to turn just a hair, just a little bit. But it seems to be pretty stable this launch, and look at that cool little sunrise we're going to get here. That's kind of snazzy. I hadn't noticed that at first. That's a cool time to launch. It's right before sunrise. So getting up about 20 kilometers off the surface, we're going a bit over 500 meters a second, so half a kilometer a second. And we are cruising right along. Terminal velocity is over a kilometer a second at this point. We are not there. So it's going to be a game of catch-up at this point. We're not going to be able to keep on the terminal velocity with the current thrust-to-weight ratio that we have on this ship. It is a heavy one. This final stage has a lot of fuel in it. And there's those tilts. We're getting a little crazy on the rotations. Let's see if we can stabilize that at all. I don't think we're going to be able to very well. That's totally fine. We're at about 40 kilometers up, so let's go. Oop, there goes the drop tanks. Let's stabilize before we kick those off. There we are. And let's cruise on down. We're at about 94, 96. I'm gonna cut our throttle just a bit so we don't go too crazy before we get up here to the correct burning position. There we are, about 100 kilometers up, but I kind of want to push out just a bit more so we can get some of that periaps built up. 60 kilometers up, and we need about 700 more Delta V, meters per second Delta V, to complete our orbit at this point. I think I'm going to stop our apoaps at about 110 and check out our current trajectory. So let's push this out and get our setup all good to go. And I'm gonna try to correct this a bit more, actually. Slow that down, bring that back in. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and let's get down to our node. And I've tested this ship a little bit. We should be okay. I had some problems. I forgot to put a good way to generate electricity on this probe body in the initial build while testing, so I had to go through a few iterations. This should work out pretty well, though. I removed it. Did have a cupula pod up on top for a single occupant if ever needed, but I took it off in favor of just a probe body. Because, I don't think we're going to send manned missions out to Duna. This is going to be a solo probe only, or, well, probe only. We might end up doing a lander sooner or later. I don't think I'm going to do it right after this like I have been. I don't think I'm going to put anything on the surface just yet. We may end up doing something small, some sort of a rover down there. It's a cool looking planet, but it's pretty basic currently still. Until it gets updated, they've been working on a lot of on the surfaces and kind of sprucing them up, making them look a lot cleaner, but I know that the squad team has been focusing a lot on getting their career mode up and running, which sounds really awesome. The next iteration they've currently got marked on the Wikipedia is going to have research tree. So you'll actually unlock parts by going through and researching them, which will be kind of cool. Kind of a cool way to build up your technology as you progress through the campaign, getting newer and newer and better equipment. Oh, I should start my burn. Just a hair shy there, but that should be fine. Burning up here. We're going to have a little bit left over in our tank here to start our initial burn out to Moho. On the nuke engines, it takes about 6 minutes, roughly, to do that burn. Probably a little more on solo nukes. I guess we'll find out here shortly. But we're burning up, getting pretty good here. Sorry about that. I've got the door open. It's a little toasty in here. We got raining outside, but it's kind of hot. We're gonna have a thunderstorm tonight, which should be cool, I think. I always like thunder. Well, lightning, more aptly named. Thunder's what follows. Haha. So we got about 200 delta V meters per second delta V left to burn up here, and we're getting close. And I think we actually timed this fairly well. It's taking less than 30 seconds to get up there, so I started probably a little too late for what this actually is intended. For the burn, that is. Whoa! Okay, we're good. Don't follow that node. Stop it. And I'm going to take a look at my phase angles. I did fast forward a bit on the launch pad before recording so that I was at least close. The Moho angle here we want to be 108.21 roughly is the one that we're shooting for. In the meantime, I'm going to keep fast forwarding just a little bit, but not too crazily. I'm going to target Moho, get this all going here, and let's go ahead and fast forward as much as we can. In fact, this will take a few minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, so we got the node basically, set up. I thought I went past the time frame there. I'm going to burn it about 3 minutes, give or take, and that should be good. I know it says 1:33 seconds there, but that's with these strength rockets, and they're going to run out pretty quick. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. We need about a little over 2,000 delta V on this burn to complete it, is what it's asking for. So we're going to burn off what we have here. And as soon as that's out, we're going to be switching to our nuclear rockets to finish the job. And just about there, pop, and burn these guys. Whoa, it's asking for 10 minutes worth of burn here at full throttle. Jeez. Okay, I went a bit late. It's totally fine. We're going to go ahead and fast forward it and get going here though. So, news for everybody here. I know I've mentioned wanting to do Amnesia recently, but I was planning to do it possibly after finishing this season, or at least getting a little more time to do so. I don't think that's going to be the case. We're not going to do Amnesia The Dark Descent, because we're going to do Amnesia A Machine for Pigs, because I have picked it up since it just went on pre-sale on Steam. It's unlocking September 10th, and I'm going to do my best to get that going as soon as, well, at least very shortly after that actually releases. I'll be recording episodes of that. So if you're into survival horror games, check it out. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it, I think, and I hope you guys will have a lot of fun watching it. I don't tend to have too big of an aversion to scary things, so it's not going to be anything close to some of the guys out there you'll see doing Amnesias where they're screaming and whatnot. I'm a little more contained, I'll say, than that. But I definitely enjoy them all the same. It's a fun genre of game that I get a kick out of. So we are burning down. You can see our periaps here coming in toward Moho. As you can see, the closest approach is a bit off, but we are also like 7 degrees off from it on its tilt. So we're going to be correcting that in flight on the way out there and adjusting our trajectory to actually get an encounter with Moho. It's a tricky one to get an encounter with. If you'll notice, I was a bit past that 108.21 degree mark, but that's totally fine. It's close enough to make the encounter work sooner or later. It'll just take a bit of finagling to actually get that going. We should have a bit over 2,000 delta V left in this guy's tank to actually make those adjustments and do our final capture. which is going to be interesting to see. I know it takes a lot to actually make that encounter, or make that capture. So you'll see why my final stage has a lot of Delta V. It'll be ridiculous. It surprised me with how much it needed when I was doing the testing on this. But okay, so we got like about a minute 30 left is what it's asking for, about 320 Delta V left to go, meters per second that is. I always make that incorrectly, I say that incorrectly, that is, because, I don't know, I just like to say Delta V, but it needs context. It could be Delta V in miles per hour as far as I know. You need to give the stipulation of measurement. So getting close, should be getting in there really quickly now, got about 100 meters per second Delta V left to burn off here. And I'm going to turn down the time warp as we get in closer there, so it's a little easier to judge this, and drop in our throttle to make sure we get that well placed, I'll say. You know what? I'm actually going to call that there. We are closer on our trajectory than initially planned because I burnt so late. So let's go ahead and get this going. We're going to jump out and then get our orbits corrected. Whoa, that's going to be tricky though, because the node's right there. Whew. Okay, interesting. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a node set up that's going to push us out a little further because we're way ahead of it, apparently. When it's going to swing back around, we'll be ahead of it in the projected trajectory. So I pushed out a little further, so we'll spend more time in transit to get there. So hopefully that'll be enough to actually correct once we get the alignment node set up. It'll probably take a lot of finagling, or a lot of, well, I always keep saying that, it'll probably take a lot of Delta V to actually make these corrections. I've got just a hair under 2,000 left. It's asking for 1,300, a little over 1,300 to make these corrections at this point without even an encounter. This is a tricky planet to hit, I have noticed. Its inclination does not lend itself well to this. So I'm going to start burning now. Since we're about the 3-minute mark, it's asking for a little under 6 minutes total burn to do this. So yeah, I'm going to come back to you guys once we get up to this descending node and kind of get this a little more corrected in here. Okay, so I've done some correcting. I got the node set up now to perfect our alignment, our inclination alignment with this guy, with Moho, and basically, what I'm doing here is I brought us in a lot so that we're, should be catching up because we actually overcorrected and now we're behind. So I need to do some more correcting here after I get the alignment all in place. But it's going to take 819 meters a second Delta V, and in this stage, our interplanetary stage, which has done us perfectly, and overly so, up to this point, I'm going to need more than it has left. So I'm hoping my final stage will have enough to do our full corrections. Gosh, I'm sorry about these. Everybody, it seems like, here in the Seattle area likes to have those little rattle cans on their fucking... I mean, friggin', don't cuss, kids. I mean, you know, they've got those little, like, mufflers, the muffler tips on their cars, and it's so trashy, because, like, 90% of the cars that you see go by are just crap. They're not even, like, nice cars. Though some of them, I will admit, very nice vehicles. All the same, I hate that crap, especially when they do it, like, 2, 3 in the morning. We're right on a corner and a stop sign, so that's, like, the worst place to be for hearing this crap go by. Anywho, little venting, I'm sorry. Getting ready here, need about a 3-minute burn here on these engines. It's going to be more than that because our last stage, well, it might be more than that. I don't know how this is actually going to work out. It has less engines on our last stage. So I think the thrust to weight ratio is a bit smaller. So I need about 3 minutes it's calling for, and about 300 Delta V of this is going to be on the new set. So you know what, I'm going to burn it about minute 50, give or take. T-minus minute 50 is going to be the goal. So minute 57, we're just going to go ahead and start it. We're just going to go for it. So as you can see, we're bringing up, we're burning north, so it's going to push our trajectory up to meet up with our line here. And we're right on the point where it was aligned, so we're like pretty solid on this thing, so when we can do it, it'll actually make us perfectly aligned to a 0.0 inclination difference. 0.0 inclination difference. Alright, so we're going to get this going. We'll meet up with you guys as we're getting closer to Moho. Okay, ran into a little snafu here. I forgot. Apparently it was being controlled by the mech unit. That was my control point. So when I ejected that last stage, I actually lost my node and everything. So I'm having to do this last bit by hand and making sure, because this thing's a little unbalanced as well. So always fun. But there we go. We got it all set up. We were at a 0% different, or 0 degree difference in inclination here. So let's see if we can get this working. Figure out what we need to do to get this burn fixed. And get this encounter fixed, that is, mostly. That's what we're after. Okay, so we need about a 550 meter per second burn difference here. So let's find that node, and we'll get ready to do that too. So this is our final stage, guys. This little guy here, and there goes our interstellar. Bye, interstellar stage. I'll miss you. You're a good companion. As you can see, this final stage, it's got lights, it's got all the different docking rings on it, so if need be, we can go pick this thing up or refuel it if we ever get the chance or ever want to. It's got some satellite dishes up top and some antennas along the bottom for, you know, whatever stuff. And I've got, thankfully, I'm glad probe bodies actually have built-in SAS at this point. It sucks in comparison to actually having an SAS unit, but it'll do the trick. So we're using, after this burn, we will have used about 850 delta V, well, more than that, closer to 900 delta V out of this stage. I'm hoping we have enough left to make our final capture burn. It's not going to be a perfect orbit, I can almost guarantee that. But if we can get it in a stable orbit, a captured orbit, I will be more than happy to call that good with Moho because of its difficulty to hit. I am not looking forward to Elu. Elu is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if it'll be any worse, but it'll be an interesting one. We need about a minute, or 2 minutes, just shy of 2 minutes delta V, so we need about T minus 1 minute is when we're going to start our burn. Okay, so we've got this burn mostly all finished up now. The one thing about this craft is it seems to be a little off balance. Even with the built-in crappy RCS, or not RCS, SAS that's on here, it doesn't actually tend to stay put on the nav ball. I need to actually, in the future, think about that and put, either weight them better or put its own dedicated SAS unit on. We do have an encounter though, so that's all I was really hoping for at this point. So we're going to go ahead and jump into Moho here, and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, here we go. There's our Moho encounter. Let's go ahead and shut off time warp here and figure out what we're going to need to actually get this orbit fixed and finished. Okay, come on, target the dang thing. There we go. Shift that over a hair, and let's crank that down. So you can see our delta V requirement just skyrocketing here. Whoa! Okay, that'll put us at a little over 500 meters or kilometers up, and that's taking over almost a little over 4,600 meters per second delta V. Ridiculous amount of delta V. Thankfully, this stage was built with that in mind. I think total on this stage is around 8,000 delta V on this final stage with these two engines and the two little pods right here that I used to connect them. But yeah, I think what's actually causing my weight distribution issues is these docking ports. I think they weigh a little more than I had planned for. I should actually probably switch these around too next time I think about it. Since I've got 3 of these thermo-radioscopic Majigglypuffs on there. Oh geez, it needs 46 minutes of delta V, and we're already at T-minus 19. Holy crap, okay. We're gonna get going here, and yeah. Where is that? There it is. I don't know if that's incorrect. I hope that's incorrect. Holy Jesus. Okay. Put ourselves right there on the node, stop that rotation. Okay, it's more like 15 minutes. Okay, whew. That threw me for a loop there. Pretty crazy. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and drop down to about T-minus 8 minutes and start our burn. Coming in here close. And I'm not gonna make you guys sit through this burn, but yeah, it'll be tricky getting this all ready. full throttle on this guy. We're going to fast forward time speed, and I'll come back to you guys shortly here. Okay, so we are getting real close here, guys. In fact, I'm going to start kicking back my throttle because we're getting so close. Pretty quick here. I actually did find out that the drone SAS, or the probe SAS bodies, or the SAS on the probe bodies, actually can do a decent job of holding my position. It's just slow to respond. That's my Steam, my bad. Got a buddy of mine, Shroom, the guy who did the uploading for me the other weekends while I was in Alaska, is messaging me because we're starting to play Eve. Which, excuse me, little burp there, my bad. Which somebody mentioned to me before on the channel. It was like, hey, you should play Eve. It's not really my cup of tea, but, you know, I'm giving it a shot. I'm really looking forward to Star Citizen. That's the one that I'm excited about. I mean, I like Eve, I like the setting, that's all great and dandy, but I want a game where I'm actually behind the joystick, flying my own ship, being able to walk around as my avatar. I know they recently added the captain's quarters to Eve or whatever that allowed you to do similar things, but not on a like a social I guess scale. So we got the encounter, we got it all good to go. I'm going down to correct my orbit now, or at least get us into a tighter circularized orbit. And yeah, this thing had just a bit over the amount of fuel that we needed, so we are locked in at Moho. We are here. So I'm pretty pumped about that. That's good times for me. I don't know why it started to go so slow here, but we're definitely seeing some lag. So I'm gonna actually stop recording for a minute and go check around and see if I can close anything that's running. Okay. Sorry about that. I think it was Origin trying to start up. I just reinstalled Origin a little bit back for the humble Origin bundle that I bought. Got a bunch of cool games, but it did require Origin on a few. I am not a huge fan of Origin, but I'll give them this. The system has gotten a little better from when I last looked at it. It's not terrible. I'm not a huge fan of EA, but, you know, whatever. If I have to do it to play some of their games, that's cool. So, alright, getting set up on the node here, and we will be good to go here momentarily. Sorry, my Steam once more. Totally my bad. So we're going to fast forward and get down to that node. We need about 17 seconds worth of delta V. Check out our orbital speed, and you'll see our orbital speed when we get down there in a tight orbit. It's pretty low in comparison to some of the other planets. So zipping on down. I'm going to start at about T-minus 9 seconds. If we can get down to that point safely. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay. My Steam again, my bad. I know, sorry about that. You guys are probably, if you got Steam open, you're probably like, what the heck, why am I getting messaged? Totally my Steam that's going crazy. Not yours. You're fine. So yeah, check this out. A little under 500 meters a second on our orbital speed. Pretty crazy, all things considered. And this little guy has been a pain to fly. Hopefully I'll learn from my mistakes. Probably not. Let's go ahead and deploy this satellite. Send out our dishes, our antennas, our solar panels, and we are sitting pretty. This guy is all in position. So what should we name it? What should we name this probe to? The Moho Traveler Mark 1 Mercury. For the real-life equivalent of Moho. I've been trying to name everything over after Greek gods, goddesses, that whole thing. Keeping a theme on my ships. I was thinking about doing like Viking mythology, but Greek seems more appropriate. So there we go, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs. I'll be doing that one shortly here soon. So thanks for watching. Absolutely. Do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.